Hello, friends. Welcome to today's episode of Decoding Mastery, where we bring you inspiring conversations with some of the most incredible masters in the world. Today, we are honored to be joined by none other than Frederika Krier, a Grammy Award-winning violinist. With a career marked by stunning performances and collaborations across the globe, Frederika has captivated audiences with her expressive sound and impeccable technique. With her extraordinary skill and dedication to her craft, Frederika Krier has redefined the way we experience music. We are thrilled to have her here to discuss her remarkable journey, her passion for the violin, her daily routine and creative process, and the stories behind her incredible career. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into the world of Frederika Krier. Hello, Frederika. Welcome to my podcast. And
Thank you.
it's so nice to see you. First of all, just giving you a brief introduction about my podcast. What about it? So I started this podcast recently only, and to explore the lives of masters like you. So how you are different from others, what you do different things from others, how was your childhood, what kind of passion you followed, what kind of rituals you followed, okay, what kind of struggles you faced, and then what kind of practice routine you followed, and wow, how many like different obstacles you saw in your life, and you still persisted and you still focused towards your mastery, and you achieved today. Like you are a Grammy Award winner violinist, and
Yes.
you are also the voting member of the Recording Academy. So just want to know about what do you mean when you say that you are the voting member of the Recording Academy?
Oh, I'm part of the people who vote and then decide who gets a Grammy in the end, who gets
Oh.
nominated and who gets a Grammy Award.
So it's like you are one of the members who have to decide who is going to get the Grammy this year or next year.
Yeah, there are thousands of people who then
Oh.
send in their votes. You have to be a member to be able to vote. And yes.
So all of them are musicians.
Yeah, musicians, producers, agents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Producers and agents also. Okay. So just tell us about your childhood, Frederick. I'm very excited to know about your childhood. Like,
Okay.
when was the first time you got this passion? Like, you discovered this passion for the violin? How it
Uh,
happened?
that was about when I was about 6 years old.
Oh.
And I'm born in Romania, and my family came to Germany when I was about 4 years old. And when I was about six, my parents brought me and my little sister to a day of the open door of the local music school. And they first just thought it's a nice activity to do without any expectations. And then
Okay.
I tried out a couple of instruments and I fell in love with the violin. And my parents first thought that violin might be a too difficult instrument to start with, and they tried to convince me to maybe go for piano, but I was just so excited and I annoyed my parents until they let me have or take violin lessons. And that's how it
So,
started.
yeah, it's so nice. At the age of 6 years, you have decided violin as a like your choice of musical
Yes.
instrument. Okay. And definitely you started as a hobby, not as
Yeah.
a like, yeah. So when did you realize that it can be your profession?
I'm not quite sure. I mean, I kind of grew into it. I ended up being really good at violin, so I got a lot of support. And at some point, I had more and more performances in school orchestras, and then I also played as a soloist. And I feel like I kind of just grew into it. And at some point, the people around me kind of expected me to become a professional musician. It was just expected. Um, so yeah, I kind of grew into it. It was gradual. It was not
It was gradual, not
something
any
that,
particular event that
no,
motivated you. Okay.
no, it was just
Uh,
one thing after the
uh,
other. And
okay. So it happened gradually. So you moved
yeah.
towards. You decided to take
Yeah.
it as a profession.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
are you from?
when I was younger, I had other interests too. Like I was
Okay,
very much into archaeology, but that was the thing that
okay.
ended up
So,
being the most important thing.
so are you from musical family? Like anyone from your uh, family is into music, any kind of music?
My parents are not professional musicians, but they do
Okay,
love music. My dad used to play drums when he was a teenager, but he didn't pursue it as a career. My mom always loved the violin and wanted to learn the violin as a kid, but she was not allowed to. I had a
okay,
great grandfather who used to play violin, but unfortunately he um, did not take care of his family because of that. So, yes. So, a very music-loving family, but not professional musicians.
okay. No professional, but encouragement from your their side, like your friends, your family, they encourage you to pursue this as a career.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's nice. And later I know that you later you came to US and is it because of your career or because of any other reason?
I came to the US because in Berlin I studied jazz performance. And at some point, because New York is the capital of jazz, or one of them, so
Yeah.
I decided to visit. And the first time I went for a month, and then I fell in love with New York, and I came 2 more times to visit, and then I missed New York so much that I decided to move to the US and to New York and get an artist visa, and yeah.
Superb. And what was your age that time when you moved to US?
Uh, that was 2010.
Okay, 2010.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So so when did you start as a formal training for this violin? It was started in Germany
Yeah,
and
I started
okay,
between 6 and 7. Yeah.
okay. And when you started performing as a like a professional, it was started in Germany or it happened in
Yeah.
US?
I already started performing professionally in Germany. I went on tour with Gitte Henning. She's
Okay.
a pretty big name in Germany. At that point, she had 50 years on stage. Um, yeah, so that, and I had other events too. Before that, I played in musical performances local to where I grew up, and did some film music, and I played with a Bavarian comedy band before I was 18.
Oh,
So it just slowly developed into just playing performances, and that's already being a professional. So
oh.
yeah.
So who were the biggest influencers in your life in the initial years when you started learning violin? And
I
who
mean
were the
that
mentors?
was these were my first teachers. Like my
Okay,
first violin teacher was Mrs. Peter Leisterer. And then I got a lot of support from a teacher in high school who also led the main orchestra. He was always very supportive of me. Yeah, these were the very first people.
superb.
Yeah.
So you are a Grammy Award winner. So when did
Yes.
you receive this award? In which year?
Last year,
Oh,
2024.
last year. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Wow. So how was the feeling like receiving this award as an artist? What kind of encouragement it means to you?
I mean, it was incredible. It was very overwhelming. It was a Grammy. It was never something that I thought I would win. It was, yeah. It was always
Okay,
so far away. So, and it did happen. And I mean, it means a lot because the Grammys are being decided by your peers, by other musicians. So it means a lot.
it means a lot.
Yeah.
So, and see, learning violin is like it's a very precise kind of instrument. So
Yeah.
it's not so easy. Though it's a very old instrument. I think it's hundreds of years old uh, as a profession. Okay. So what kind of routine you followed in learning? What kind of hard work you did? What kind of practice you did to learn this violin and
Okay.
to
I
become
mean,
a master in it?
it's an ongoing practice. Like with violin, it's one of the hardest instrument to learn, I would
Yeah.
say. Um, and I mean, at some point, I used to practice up to, I think, 6, 7 hours a day, especially when I studied in Berlin. Um, yeah, and I think it's always very important to always come back to the basics, like playing long notes, paying attention to the technique, to velocity, finger exercises, stuff like that. So,
So, 6, 7 hours a day. You were saying that you
yeah, it's
need to
at some
practice.
point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how were you able to manage both playing violin, learning violin, and studies, academics?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because as a child, it's not so easy, especially if you are not from musical family, as a professional
Yeah.
musical family.
I
So
mean,
there are a lot.
these 6, 7 hours were during university when I specialized in performance.
Okay.
During high school, it was, I don't know, 3 hours, 4 hours, something like that.
So you were having sufficient opportunities in school to learn this violin. You started from playing violin in school only, no? So and so you were having like all the facilities and teachers in
Yeah,
the school.
I
Okay.
started with a private teacher
Okay.
first, and then I
Okay.
joined the orchestras in high school, but I had one-on-one lessons. That's how I started.
Okay. Okay. That's great. So it requires a lot of discipline also learning violin. So
Yeah.
how it helped you to grow as a professional, not just in violin, but as well as like in other areas in life? How it helped you in that discipline as a learning violin every day? You are saying it's a gradual process. Every day
Yeah.
you have to practice. Okay, and it's a very hard work. It's not that once you have done and now you have to just reap the
No,
fruits. Not it's not like that. Right? It's a
no, and if
continuous
you don't
practice.
practice, you're losing. So
Yeah.
So
So
discipline's probably the most important thing because it's also with everything that you're very
yeah,
talented at, you first might have an advantage, but if you're not working on your craft, if you're not having discipline, then the people who work hard will probably surpass you,
right.
even if they initially have less talent. So yeah, discipline is probably the most important thing to
So
succeed.
what is bigger motivation for you? Like a pleasure to learn violin to become master in it, or fear of losing? If I talk in psychological aspect, that what motivates you more? Like maybe if I don't practice, maybe I will lose to one of my competitors, or it's a love of the violin that makes you practice daily for more and more you get involved into playing violin.
It's more the love of playing, and
Okay,
it's yeah, it's also more the frustration when you don't practice for a week and then you have to build it up again, and it's more about the playing itself and the music itself than it's. I don't think it's the motivation should be something positive and not fear of something else or desperation. So yeah, it's definitely the love of music and love of playing the instrument.
okay. So how you have to, Pradika, how you have to grow yourself? Like what kind of measures you have to take uh, while physically, like mentally, how you have to make yourself fit that to play violin? What kind of rituals you are following? Daily rituals.
To to play violin or for
Yeah,
a
means
performance?
just for yourself that you have to be always be like active completely. You can't fall sick. You have to practice daily. You have to attend the major events. Okay, you have to perform. Even in live performance are there. So you have to definitely take care of yourself a lot.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
yeah. So what kind of like rituals you're following daily, like to keep yourself physically fit, mentally fit?
Yeah, so I have a daily yoga routine.
Okay.
I
Mm.
get up between like 5:30 and 6 a.m. every day and start some yoga practice, a little bit of meditation, and then in the afternoon I practice, and then
Okay.
another yoga session at night. And I try to get outside, to get into nature, get some fresh air.
That's
Yeah, and
nice.
and I have a very healthy lifestyle. I pay attention to nutrition, to what I eat. Um, I try to get enough sleep. So I lead a very, very healthy lifestyle. And yeah.
That's so important. Like, if you are in a profession like in music, you have to take care of yourself. So yoga, you,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. It's also very important to take care of your mental health because this business
right.
is a lot of pressure. It has a lot of competition. So mental health is very, very important.
Yeah, that was my next question is that if when you are going to attend a major event, so what kind of preparation you have to do, extraordinary preparation you have to do, uh, that you are
Well,
following normal routine, but what extra you have to do for the
yeah,
major?
so it for major performances, well, I try to practice as much as I can. If I have recordings, I play to recordings. Um, but then I stop the day before, so I make sure I take the evening to just really just for self-care and get enough sleep. And the day of the performance, I try to not really practice anymore because up until as the day itself will not change anything anymore. So I know I've done everything I could. I'm gonna do my best, but it's not um like practicing too much on the day of the performance usually just creates a lot of anxiety, and I just try to just be as relaxed as I can, be at the venue early, warm up, and just do my best. Basically, uh, yeah, I basically stop practicing about the afternoon before a
Okay.
performance. Yeah.
So we are living in a world of technology, so there are so many gadgets and so many things which can distract us. So how you
Yes.
are able to manage because it's a very challenging for you as a professional, as
Yeah.
a master. So how you are able to manage yourself to stay away from these distractions because these are not easy.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
not.
whether it's
Um,
checking mails or messages or anything like games,
yeah.
so many things.
I mean, if I have a time frame where I know I really have to concentrate, you can put these devices on airplane mode or just switch them off. That's, yeah,
Okay. So
probably the best I can.
any exercise for concentration like you do
Oh, meditation.
that
Or just,
meditation.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
It helps you in developing, improving your concentration.
yeah. Especially meditation that, when you focus on your breath or you're focusing on a dot in front of you for a while. Things like that, where you really have to focus
Mhm.
everything on one thing. And that's if you have a good practice of something like that, then at some point it will jump over to something else, to
Yeah.
other activities.
And especially when you're performing in a live concert. So how difficult it is to stay focused because crowd is there, audience is there, some kind of nervousness is there. Okay, performance anxiety is there. So how you are able to deal with it? So stay focused. And before the event also like to how you're dealing with the performance anxiety and nervousness because when you're performing live, definitely uh, it's not easy.
No, it's not. And I used to suffer from really, really bad performance anxiety. Like I had super sweaty hands and I was shaking and it
Okay.
was really bad. And I I got this tour with Gitta Henning that I mentioned beforehand, and I went on tour with her, and I was playing with her and a big band, and I had a solo where I had to go in front of the band and improvise a highly energetic solo. And my first performance with that group was in an amphitheater style setting where I suddenly had about 1,000 people as a wall in front of me, and I had never played in front of so many people before. And that somehow just I was thrown into that, and it just changed everything. Since I had these experiences, I don't really have much performance anxiety anymore. So
Okay.
throw yourself and things like that if you have the chance. But like what I mentioned before, to just practice and make sure you have everything down, but then let the body do its thing, process everything. Don't practice on the day of the performance, and just pay more attention to relaxation and breathing deeply, being prepared, and just know that you did everything you could to make this the best performance. Just
That's
at some
great.
point, you just have to trust in the process because you're standing in front of the audience now. It's the time, and yeah, just try to do your best and be aware that the audience is looking forward to hear you play. Most of the audience is not there to judge you. They want to have a pleasant experience. They come there with the positive expectation.
That's
So,
very important. Like audience is not there to judge you. They
yeah.
just want to have that experience. They want to enjoy that experience.
Yeah. Yeah, and the important thing is also when you're on stage, you can get, the experience can get very self-absorbed, the fear of it. But then if you try to switch your perception to it's not about you, it's about you giving something to the audience,
Yeah. So
that
thinking
might,
about the audience and that helps you. Okay.
yeah.
So what is the most rewarding experience in performing lively? What helps you like to go again and again to perform lively? What
I
motivates
think
you?
um it's it's the experience itself, the energy exchange, and especially the moments when everything clicks and you just are completely, for example, when I'm going on stage with the band, and the band is musically very connected and it's all flowing, and you get the energy from the audience. There's like at some point, if it's a really, really great performance, you get into some kind of trance where it almost feels like as if something else plays you and everything just goes by itself. And that's just that makes all the hard work worth it.
Right.
Experiences like that.
Right. So, Frederica, what I have seen that nowadays youngsters, because through this podcast, I want to tell my audience and youngsters that mastery is not so easy, but it's very rewarding. Okay, because many people want to become like you, but they don't have that patience, that focus, maybe uh, that like persistence, that to go through it. Okay, sometimes ups, sometimes downs. Okay, that happens. But the most difficult thing nowadays, I see that there are a lot of distractions. People get bored easily. Okay, even if they are studying, they get bored easily. If they are playing, they get bored, and they want to switch from one game to another game, from one subject to another subject. But you are doing this since the age of 6. So
Yeah, I
haven't you
had the
never feel
advantage.
bored?
I
Yeah,
had the advantage growing up that there was
yeah,
no social media, there was no computer, there were no smartphones. I, you know,
right.
so the generation growing up right now
Yeah, at
have,
that time there were
yeah,
different kind of distractions, but now different kind of
yeah,
distraction like technology definitely.
yeah.
So my next question was that if you're training nowadays youngsters, so how easy or difficult it is as compared to a time when you were learning uh,
Oh
violin.
yes, the
Yeah.
the distraction is a problem, or just the lack of focus. Yeah, especially for younger kids when I teach beginner violinists.
Mm,
Um, it can be a problem to keep the attention. So yeah.
okay. So and
And then you have
uh,
to find ways and yeah,
yeah.
engage them. Yeah.
Okay.
But
So
I
but
also feel I also feel if someone really wants to learn and it develops into a passion, then the focus does get easier. I feel like you just have to want something bad enough and just um there must be more behind the reason to do something than just like how it looks or
right.
how it's or a fantasy of it. So there must be real passion and excitement about a subject.
Yes. That makes a difference.
Like something
So
a reason like just to want to be a star or something like that or play
mm,
big arenas can't be the reason. I did play all of this, but there are so many musicians who are successful who are not playing out on big stages or winning Grammys, and they're still successful. So you have to do it for the love of music and not for
not for money,
outside.
fame, recognition
Yeah,
from outside. It should be
yeah,
internal from your inside. Your love
yeah,
for the subject. That is the
yeah,
most important thing. That will automatically help you to stay focused. Okay.
yeah.
But how is technology helping you to train your students? Uh, like when you were learning at that time, what kind of technology was available, and now how technology is assisting you to train
Well,
your
it's
students?
I mean maybe using backing tracks to have an accompaniment, especially for students who learn improvisation. So I don't have to hire a full band, so I can just play backing tracks and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can learn like in a studio, or you can learn at home also. Like nowadays, if you are having the technology, if you are having the right you instruments, so you can learn at home, you can practice at home, or you need a studio to learn uh, practice
Uh,
violin.
do you mean learning from videos or learning from a
Yeah, means like if you are having gadgets like
yeah.
laptop and all these things, so can you learn violin? Means you can record your own uh, music, and then you can check how it's doing, or you need a proper all the your gadgets and all your instruments, musical instruments, recording instruments to test yourself in a proper
Okay.
state.
Um, so recording yourself definitely helps to have a more um outside view. Um, but to actually learn, I know some people who learned playing violin over YouTube videos, but I personally would not recommend that because there's a lot of things going into technique and making sure that you don't hurt yourself. There's posture is very important for playing violin because you have a very odd position with your arm and it's easy to hurt yourself if you don't have the right technique. So for starting violin, definitely I would say it needs to have a teacher, and I would not recommend to learn violin over YouTube videos.
Okay. So what
Yes,
is an
but
yeah,
something like recording yourself while practicing is definitely very, very helpful. It
okay.
yeah, it
But you
just
need
gives
a
you
coach,
more
you need a
objective
tutor
view
to learn and to learn how to
to
play.
start. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And what is the right age? What is an ideal age to start learning violin? Like if you're a kid, so what is the right age that your hands and everything, your instructions that you are getting, you start using those instructions in playing violin.
I
Okay.
mean, I know of kids who learned with at the age of 2 or 3. Um,
Okay.
it depends on the kid. Um,
Okay.
Sometimes the kids are too young to actually start with the violin. At that age, I would more recommend just a general music class where, you playfully learn rhythms and melodies and things like that. And then probably between 5 and 6, I would say, to then
Okay,
start
5 and 6
slowly.
is an ideal. It's an ideal age to start.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's great. So, any composers or any violinist you like, their techniques, any of your favorites? Uh,
Well, in classical, I always like Midori because of her clean sound. For jazz violinists, I like John-Luc Ponty, DJ Lockwood, Regina
okay,
Carter, Zach Broch. Um, Composers, I always loved Bach.
okay. So, do you face creative blocks when you are
Oh yeah.
okay? So, how you are able to manage it? What you do? Any
Um,
techniques? Any mental techniques? Anything?
Usually taking breaks, getting out into nature, just getting away from screens
Okay,
usually helps a lot. And, um, movement, doing yoga or other physical exercise to just kind of clear my head. Or then just try to listen to other people's music or just try to discover something new that's out there. There's so much music being released all the time. Um, yeah, things like that.
trying new hobbies can also help.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just
Yeah,
the thing with music is it can be if you want to be on a professional level, it can be an isolating experience because you have to practice so much.
yeah,
But the thing is also you want to tell a story when you're playing music. You don't just want to be a technical robot when you're performing. So that means you also have to live life
yes.
and do something else. So
So, how you are able to manage your personal and professional life? Because here you have to devote a lot of time uh, daily on your
yeah,
practicing. So, is it easy or now you are like used to it and your
I'm used to
family
it.
also?
I mean, yeah, I'm used to it, but you just have to also be aware that it can be isolating and then make an effort to connect with people. Because also music, you cannot really exist by yourself. It's yeah, you're making music for other people or you're playing music with other people. So
That's great.
yeah, so music can only exist in community. It's not you cannot just isolate yourself from the world and yeah.
So, Frederica, being an introvert is better to learn music. Do you think so?
Um, well, I
What you
would
have
say
seen?
I would classify myself as an introvert.
Mm.
Um, but so I do not have the extrovert experience. What um it does help though to have extrovert um qualities, just if especially going on stage or being a leader in certain settings. So you have to um I think you kind of have to make an effort to develop extrovert abilities as well, but being an introvert, I think it helps to be very focused and pay attention to details.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
In
try to
violin,
go.
it requires a lot, paying attention to detail, to
Yes.
learning. Is it a complex musical instrument or
Yeah,
uh,
I would say it's the most complex, most difficult instruments to learn together with the whole like viola and cello because you have to develop your ears. It's not like playing piano where you play a key and the note is there. On the violin, you just have a string. You do not have the frets that a guitar has.
Okay.
So you have to, that's why learning violin in the very beginning can become very frustrating, and you need a lot of patience because it takes a long time just to produce a tone. If you learn piano, you just press a key and you can play melodies in a few weeks. With the violin, that doesn't go like that. And so you have to rely on your ears way more than a lot of other instruments from the very beginning. Um, yeah.
So, what separates a great performance from an unforgettable one? Means you have uh, seen yourself, you have experienced.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mentioned before when you get into this moment where the music starts to flow through you and you feel like you connect with everyone. It does not happen with every performance, but I would say that's an unforgettable one
Okay.
when that happens.
So what are the projects or any performance you are most proud of?
Um, well, first of all, my own, where I play my own music.
Yeah, I'm talking about your own performance. Which performance
Yeah.
you are most proud of? Any?
That's probably when my quartet was invited to play at the Garana Jazz Festival in Romania. That was very special for me because I was born in Romania, and it was also in the area where my parents had their honeymoon.
Okay.
So that was the first time performing in Romania, and we opened for Hiromi and her trio. And when we were done with our performance, Anthony Jackson and Simon Phillips were waiting at the entrance of the stage and introduced themselves and congratulated us. So that was a really nice
Okay. So
island.
any
Yeah.
of your dream collaborations or composers you want to work with?
Um, I'd love to at some point record with Gregory Porter.
Okay.
Yeah, he was one of the reasons why I moved to New York. And I met him before he got very, very famous. And I had the chance to play with him a couple times. So yeah, recording with him would be pretty amazing.
That's so
And
nice.
then yeah, and then I have another colleague, Lakeisha Benjamin. She's touring the world right now. That would be amazing to record with her too. So yeah.
Okay. So any of Asian or any Indian composer you have worked with, any musician?
Right. I did two US tours with Arijit Singh.
Arjit Singh, oh, he's a Bollywood singer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a quite famous one in India and in other countries too.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, you have worked with him?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's so
I did
nice.
two US tours in
Oh,
I
US
think
too.
2015 and 2017.
Okay,
We
that's
played
great.
big arenas.
Okay. So anything difficult, any setbacks you faced in your life? You have talked about your best performances. Any
Hmm.
setbacks that maybe like demotivated you to just take a break and focus on
Yeah.
something else?
Yeah, I had two of those actually. One was when I was still studying in university, and I put a lot of pressure onto myself, and I made sure to be at the university at 7 o'clock in the morning and practice 2 or 3 hours before the classes started. And then at night, I went to out to jam sessions until the middle of the night. And that led to me developing tendonitis, and then I could not play for 3 months.
Okay.
And that was difficult. And then I had a bigger setback in 2019, 2020 when I applied for a green card in the US, and it was Trump's presidency, and that led to work permits being delayed from the normal 3 months to 9 months and longer. That means my artist visa ran out, and then I suddenly was in a situation where I was not allowed to work for about 6 months, and I also could not leave the country. So that was a really
Oh,
hard time because I had to decline a lot of high profile performances and TV appearances, and then that led to other people being called for these gigs. And if you're out of commission for like 6 months, then it takes a while to just for people to realize, okay, you can work now again.
right.
And then, then the pandemic happened and
Yeah, that that's a big problem that happened. So what do you think about your future, Frederica? What do you want to do in the next 10, 20, 30 years? Same thing? Or do you have any other plans?
um right now I want to put the focus back because what happened to 2019-20, I basically had to take a break with my own project, and that took a backseat to then also play more for other people, and I want to get back to that and record an album and focus more on my own music again. So that's a big thing. Yeah. And for, 20, 30 years, I'll see what's gonna happen.
Yeah. So any other instrument that you enjoyed apart from violin?
Well, I only perform with violin,
Okay.
but I, my side instruments in university were piano and drums. And at some point, I also taught myself electric bass.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Any piece of music that was very hard to learn for you?
Yeah, the Chaconne from Bach. It's it's for like it's a very hard piece.
Okay.
It has a lot of double stops, and it's the challenges are to just balance out all the voices in that tune, besides it being technically very difficult. Um, yeah, so it has technical and musical challenges.
Yeah. So now you also teach other students also, as I understand from your website. And
Yeah, yeah, and
so,
I'm always, if someone has questions, I'm always happy to answer, or yeah.
okay. Have you come up with any of your courses, something like online, or that if somebody is not from US, from other country, so can they learn from you online? Is it possible?
Oh
Or
yeah, absolutely.
is it possible? Okay. So that is all like one-on-one coaching kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, online. Okay. So any books you recommend that to read? I know it's music, but because books help in every way, like not in just mentally you have to focus. Uh, it helps you growing as a professionally also. So any of
Yeah.
your favorite books?
There's a couple which I feel like as a musician, the focus is not enough to teach students to how to survive in the real world or music business. When I studied, there was not enough. Only in the second half of my studies, they introduced a music business course. Um, but people need to learn about music business to not be taken advantage of. So Ari Herstad, what was that? How to make it in the music business or something like that.
Okay.
But Ari Herstad. And then I would say learn about psychology. I like the Robert Greene books,
Oh,
the
which
48.
which one is favorite? It's 48 Laws of Power or
Yeah.
Mastery?
I mean,
Mastery.
yeah,
There is a
they're,
book.
I haven't read Mastery yet, but they are hard to read. It's very difficult for me to read. but they are so
Very deep
important.
research. Yes.
Yeah.
So Robert Greene books. Any other
Yeah.
book?
Um, Brandon Burchard about high performance habits.
Okay. High performance habits.
Yeah.
So, uh, what kind of advice you want to give to aspiring uh, musicians or violinists from where they need to start? Maybe most of the schools are not having those facilities. I'm not talking about the US or Germany, and but they
Yeah.
are if they want to learn from where they need to start
I mean, if
and where
most I
your role will come, at what age, at what time they should approach you, whether at beginning or whether they should learn something, become good at it, and then they should approach you to become better at it.
Yeah, I mean, I am teaching beginners, but I do not like to teach beginners online or people who are really just starting, because I
Right,
think that should happen in person.
right.
Yeah.
Because
So,
I have seen that in many schools still they are not. In fact, I talk about my own school when I was studying. So there was any violin. So
yeah,
there were guitars, there were sitars, there were other musical instruments, but there was no violin. So if they have not even seen violin, so how can we they love that musical instrument? Or even if there is
they,
one or two violins, that is not sufficient for the group of 50 to 60 students in a class, in a batch. So,
oh, I would not do that. Um, I do not. I know it's also in the US a very common thing
okay,
to for people to start with the violin in groups, which I don't think it's the most ideal thing, but it works. But to if there's ever a desire to become a professional, I feel like one-on-one lessons are essential, very important.
right from the beginning.
That would be ideal because
Okay,
in the very beginning, it's very important to build up a good technique. So group classes is better than YouTube. But yeah, one-on-one classes are the most ideal. But if there's nothing else, um YouTube is better than nothing. So
yeah, right. So at least they should start with one-on-one classes, lessons. If
yeah,
not, that is not
that's
available, then they can go for group learning. And if
yeah,
that is also not available, then last option is
yeah,
YouTube.
yeah.
Okay, okay. And
And
what is, yeah, yeah,
I mean they would also need to get an instrument, and I would either not everyone recommends that, but I I think it's an okay choice to just get a cheap instrument off of Amazon to just see if it's for you or not.
mm,
Or then what's the word? Rent an instrument if you can.
okay,
Yeah, before spending a lot of money on a really good instrument. And the
o-
thing is also, if you can manage to get a good tone out of a bad, cheap instrument, then you will have an even better tone on a good instrument.
yeah, that is good.
What I would not recommend to start on an electric violin. I
Okay,
know some do that, but um, you cannot really develop a good tone if you do that.
okay. So coming back to your Grammy award, so how your life changed after receiving Grammy? Did you notice anything, any big shift in your life?
Oh, there's more attention, and I'm being approached more for interviews and things like that, but maybe a few more opportunities, but not really too much.
So
Yeah.
most
But
of your tours,
there's definitely more attention and people are aware. So
yeah, that's that helps a lot as a motivation also. So
yeah.
looking at your Grammy
That's,
Award daily, it motivates you perform better, practice more
oh yeah,
like
it
this.
definitely gives more motivation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Oh, then just,
any
if there's self-doubt, there's always situation when
right.
it's getting hard, and then you just look at that and yeah.
So do you think that people like you, masters, they still face self-doubt
Oh
after
yeah.
achieving so many
Yeah,
recognitions and all these awards?
absolutely.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
We're all just human.
sorry.
We are all just human.
Yeah, yeah. So human emotions play a very important role. So how are you able, because mood is very important thing when you are practicing. So how you are able to keep your mood like always uh, in a right way so that you keep practicing in your the same hours. So that is very very important also. So any exercise you do for that, any mental exercise,
Um, Sometimes you just have to do it. Even there are times where you don't feel like practicing, but it's important what we mentioned at the beginning of this interview, discipline and just having a schedule. Sometimes you just have to do it even though you do not really want to, and then you start, and then you're getting into it, and I think sometimes just starting is the hard part, and then it's easy
right?
right after.
And when
But
inertia also plays a role,
yeah,
inertia that sometimes,
yeah. But sometimes it's more important to take a break and take a nap or something.
yes,
If if I'm too tired, there's no use of
right.
no forcing to do that.
So you practice every day, 7 days a week, or you take a
No,
day off
it's almost every day. Yeah,
almost every day.
yeah,
That is very important in your
yeah.
profession.
But
Okay,
it's also important to take breaks every now and then and do
okay.
something else.
Just last question. Any kind of message you want to say to the people who want to follow you, who want to become violinists, who want to become great musicians, who want to win Grammy, okay, like you. So, what first thing they should follow, like in their life, from where, what kind of discipline they should start with? Any kind of message you want to give?
I mean, work hard. Um, Also be kind and stay humble. Never think that you're better than others. Um, be on time. That's very important, especially for rehearsals and things like that. Be reliable. Yeah, and just do the best you can. Be the best person you can be. And learn about music business. Don't do things out of desperation. Learn to set boundaries and learn to say no sometimes. Yeah.
Okay. That's so nice of you, Franklin. It's so nice meeting you. So many
Thank you for
things we learned.
the invitation.
Yeah, and definitely uh, audience will try to take these points and try to learn violin because uh, I think it's a great instrument. It's a great instrument. I've seen a lot of like albums, movies playing violin, and it's really beautiful instrument. And you are a Grammy Award winner, so learning from you is really big thing. So thank you
Thank you.
so much, and
Thank you. Thank you
definitely,
for
if in
having me.
case we will meet sometime someday, definitely we'll try to meet. Okay,
Yes, that would be nice.
yeah. Thank you so much, Frederica. Thank you so much.
Thank
It's
you.
so nice meeting you.
That
That was an incredible conversation with Frederika Krier, a true master of the violin. Her passion, insight, and dedication to her craft are absolutely inspiring. Thank you so much, Frederika, for sharing your journey with us today. To our listeners, we hope you enjoyed this episode and found it as inspiring as we did. Be sure to follow Frederika's journey and check out her work. As always, thanks for tuning into the Vibhor Asri podcast. We will be back with more incredible guests soon.